Marissa Holloway was 39 years old, a probate assistant who had spent over a decade reading wills, inheritance disputes, and courtroom transcripts. She believed she understood greed better than most people. Then her own sister tried to steal her daughter's future in the middle of a fake family dinner. Her mother, Eleanor Holloway, had died 4 months earlier after a long battle with liver cancer. Eleanor lived in a white farmhouse outside Ashford, Virginia, surrounded by rose bushes and wind chimes that sang every time the breeze rolled through the porch. She had 2 daughters. Vanessa, the older one, loud and charming, always knew how to command a room. And Marissa, the younger daughter, quieter, practical, the one who handled problems instead of talking about them. For years, Vanessa had floated through life on promises and excuses. Failed business ideas, maxed credit cards, half-finished ventures funded by borrowed money. Eleanor helped her again and again, draining savings to rescue her from debt. But during Eleanor's final years, it was Vanessa sitting beside the hospital bed at 2 a.m. It was Marissa's daughter, Chloe. Chloe was 22 and finishing her final year of medical school. She moved into Eleanor's house during the illness. She cooked meals, organized medication schedules, drove Eleanor to appointments, and slept in a recliner beside her bed during the worst nights. Eleanor adored her. When the will was read, the shock split the family in half. Everything went to Chloe. The farmhouse, the savings, the investment account, worth nearly $300,000. And one line in the will made Vanessa's face turn white. To my granddaughter, Chloe, who stayed when others only visited. Vanessa received nothing. Not a necklace. Not furniture. Not even Eleanor's wedding china. She walked out of the lawyer's office without speaking. 2 days later, the attacks began. First came the phone calls. Vanessa accused Chloe of manipulating Eleanor. Then came Facebook posts from Vanessa's husband's relatives about elder abuse and greedy grandchildren. Soon cousins stopped answering Marissa's messages. But Marissa noticed something worse. Vanessa wasn't threatening court. She was trying to pressure Chloe personally. That terrified Marissa more. Because courts required evidence. Manipulators only required opportunity. 3 weeks after the funeral, Marissa sat in her office reviewing estate paperwork when an envelope arrived with no return address. Inside was a copy of Eleanor's bank activity. Several withdrawals stood out immediately. $4,000, $2,500, $6,000. All withdrawn during months Eleanor had been bedridden. Marissa's stomach tightened. She recognized the signatures on the withdrawal slips instantly. Or rather, she recognized the attempt. Someone had copied Eleanor's handwriting badly. The loops were too large. The pressure too heavy. The slant completely wrong. Marissa took the documents to Daniel Mercer, a senior estate attorney she trusted more than anyone. Daniel reviewed the records silently before speaking. "Your mother couldn't physically write like this during those months," he said. "Her medical records alone prove that." Marissa stared at the signatures. She wasn't shocked. She was furious that her instincts had been right all along. Daniel recommended filing a criminal complaint immediately. Marissa refused. "Not yet," she said quietly. "Why wait?" "Because Vanessa thinks she's smarter than everyone else. People like that always make one mistake too many." Daniel leaned back slowly. "You're waiting for her to expose herself." Marissa nodded. And Vanessa did exactly that. A week later, Chloe came home shaking after clinical rounds. "Aunt Vanessa cornered me outside the hospital," she whispered, "in front of everyone." Marissa looked up from the kitchen counter. "She said Grandma would hate me if she saw what I'd done." Chloe's hands trembled so badly, she dropped her backpack. She told people I stole from a dying woman. Marissa crossed the room instantly and wrapped her arms around her daughter. You listened to me carefully, she said softly. Your grandmother knew exactly who loved her. But the pressure kept escalating. Then came the invitation. A family reconciliation dinner at a Leaner's farmhouse. Saturday, 6 p.m. Vanessa insisted everyone come to heal. Chloe looked terrified. What if they try to make me sign something? Marissa's eyes narrowed. They will. That answer frightened Chloe more than anything else. Marissa spent the next 2 days preparing. She organized every document, every bank statement, every suspicious withdrawal, every voicemail Vanessa had left. Then, the night before the dinner, Chloe discovered something hidden beneath the lining of a Leaner's antique sewing box. A handwritten letter, addressed directly to Chloe. Marissa sat on a Leaner's old bedroom floor reading it while rain tapped against the windows. The letter changed everything. Leaner confessed she had known Vanessa was stealing from her. Not only the recent withdrawals. Over $90,000 had disappeared over 15 years through loans Vanessa never repaid. And then came the sentence that made Marissa close her eyes. I changed my will because love is not owed to the loudest child. At the bottom of the page, Leaner added another line. If Vanessa ever tries to pressure Chloe, protect her the way you always protected me. Marissa folded the letter carefully. That was the moment she stopped feeling conflicted. Saturday evening arrived cold and stormy. Chloe wore a navy dress and a Leaner's silver butterfly pin. Marissa didn't enter the house immediately. Instead, she parked down the road with Daniel waiting nearby in another vehicle. At 6:12, Chloe texted, There's a lawyer here. Marissa replied instantly. Don't sign anything. Inside the farmhouse, Vanessa sat at the dining table beside a broad man in a blue suit named Craig Dalton. Craig smiled too much. The paperwork already waiting on the table made Chloe's stomach drop. Vanessa gestured toward the chair. Sit down, sweetheart. We're just fixing a misunderstanding. Craig slid a document forward. Simple transfer agreement, he said casually. You sign, the estate transfers to your aunt, and the family moves on peacefully. Chloe stared at him. Why would I give away my inheritance? Vanessa sighed dramatically. Because Grandma wasn't in her right mind. Then came another twist. Vanessa's teenage son, Ethan, walked downstairs unexpectedly. He froze when he saw the papers. Mom, he said slowly, you told me this was a birthday dinner. Nobody answered. Ethan looked at Chloe, then at the documents, then at Vanessa. You're trying to take Grandma's house. Vanessa snapped at him to go upstairs. But Ethan didn't move. Instead, he quietly said, Grandma told me last year she was scared someone was taking money from her. The room went silent. Vanessa's face changed instantly. Craig tried regaining control. Let's stay focused. That was when the front door opened. Marissa walked in calmly, carrying a black leather briefcase. Behind her came Daniel Mercer. And behind Daniel came someone nobody expected. Detective Laura Pierce from the County Financial Crimes Division. Vanessa stood up so fast her chair nearly tipped backward. What is this? Marissa closed the door softly. This, she said, is the moment your lies finally caught up with you. Craig immediately began gathering papers. Too late. Detective Pierce placed a folder on the table. We received documentation regarding fraudulent withdrawals from a Leaner Holloway's accounts. Vanessa looked ready to faint. Marissa opened her briefcase slowly. Inside were copies of bank records, handwriting comparisons, a leaner's letter, and security footage Daniel had obtained from the bank. Vanessa stared at the still image frozen on top. It showed her withdrawing money, while a leaner was hospitalized. Another twist hit the room instantly. Ethan whispered, "Dad knew." Marissa looked at him carefully. "No," she said. "Your father didn't know, but your mother forged signatures." Vanessa finally exploded. "She owed me," she screamed. "Everything always went to you and your perfect daughter." "No," Marissa answered quietly. "Mom gave Chloe what Chloe earned." Vanessa started crying then. Real crying. Not performance. Mascara streaking down her cheeks, while years of bitterness poured out. Her husband had secretly filed for divorce. Their house was entering foreclosure. Creditors were calling daily. "She left me with nothing," Vanessa whispered. Marissa looked at her sister for a very long time. Then she said the sentence Vanessa would remember forever. "No, your choices left you with nothing." The detective explained Vanessa could face felony fraud charges unless restitution was made immediately. Craig disappeared without another word. Ethan walked out crying. And Vanessa collapsed into a leaner's old dining chair, staring at the documents scattered across the table like pieces of her own destruction. 2 weeks later, Vanessa returned every stolen dollar. She sold jewelry, emptied retirement accounts, and borrowed from relatives she hadn't alienated yet. Criminal charges were suspended pending repayment. But the family never returned to what it once was. Months later, Chloe officially moved into the farmhouse. She transformed Alina's old craft room into a library with soft yellow lamps and shelves full of medical textbooks and mystery novels. Marissa visited every Sunday. One evening, while drinking tea on the porch, Chloe asked quietly, "Do you think Aunt Vanessa ever loved Grandma?" Marissa thought carefully before answering. "Yes," she said finally, "but some people love others like ownership instead of gratitude." The wind chimes swayed gently in the evening breeze. Inside the house, Alina's sewing box sat on the bookshelf beside her final letter. A reminder that truth does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it waits quietly in a hidden envelope until the exact moment someone brave enough is ready to open it.